Okay, so people is joining right now. Welcome everyone to this amazing first day of Women in Leadership Roles Are Looking to the Present, organized by Generation Change International with amazing support of IADB Tando Gumere, Baha'i International Community, and Young Leadership Professionals Program from CSW New York. I'm so happy and excited to be sharing the amazing platform with everyone who's joining, but also with the amazing female leaders that are joining us today. And before we start, because I really want to go into the conversation, because I know you didn't come here to hear me talk. I know you came here because you want to know about Houry, Saphira, Sunyu, Jenni, and Patricia, the female leaders that will be joining us today and that will give us their amazing story of how they became female leaders. And has it been hard? Has it been easy? We don't know, but we are going to hear from them. And that's exactly what is make this event so important. We're giving a space to real female leaders from real world to give their experience, to give their word, to give the spotlight to who really matters. So before, as I say, we start, I want to introduce what Generation Change International is. And we're intergenerational, intersectional, and multidisciplinary platform created to empower and support young leaders, professionals, and advocates from across the world to enter the international community in an easier and more comfortable way. GCIPP wants to ensure that every brilliant young mind and every brilliant young voice can have the same opportunity to be here and to be supported. Doesn't matter where they come from, their race, sexual identity, or ideology. So I also want to thank our amazing, brilliant, admiring, and heroes female leaders who are our guest speakers for today. Your work inspired me, and I'm so happy and proud to can give you in a space where we all can know more about each of you and the amazing work that each of you are doing. I am really hope that all of you can join this event and are so excited and happy about this event as I am. And this is just the first day. Remember that tomorrow we are going to have the second day at 8 a.m. ADT or New York time. And we are going to be joined by more female leaders. So don't get sad if you say, oh, I wanted this to last more. Don't worry, we have a second event coming tomorrow. So let's start with the one and only, the amazing Houry Geudelekian. Hi, Houry. Welcome. How are you?
I am absolutely fine. You are so amazing. You're so inspiring. And you just, I mean, I thought I was the one that was always excited, and you really beat me. I've been known to be overly excited, but I'm nothing compared to you, Carlos. You're so amazing. Thank you for having me here with all of my friends too.
Oh no, it's my pleasure to have you here. And it's so great that you can be sharing these spaces with your friends, as you said, because it's like only family here right now. And I want to start this first conversation with Houry, asking you, so who actually is Houry Geudelekian? Who are you?
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't expect that. Yes, I can tell you. And you say my name beautifully too, by the way. Thank you. My name is Houry Geudelekian. I am Armenian, born in Beirut, Lebanon. And I was in Beirut until 1976 when the Civil War got really bad. And I came to New York City with my husband at the time. And I've been in New York City for over, I guess, how many years? 40 years right now. And I also am a mother of 3 feminist boys who I'm very, very proud of. They're 31, 34, and 37. And I also am a grandmother of 2 twin boys. We're not sure they're feminists yet. They're only 2 years old. But do you think they have an option? No, I think they're going to be feminists as well because their parents are also feminists. So that's my background. I always like to say that I was born, I guess, to be an advocate, but I did not take the usual route. I was married at an early age. And then I started a business with my husband, and we did very well in New York City. And then there was a time when I realized I have no idea who I am yet. I have made this amazing family. I have created a business, but there was a voice in me that was missing. And long story short, a friend of mine said, you should check out this organization that has ECOSOC accreditation at the United Nations and see what they're doing, you know? And I was like, what, whoa. First of all, those words didn't mean anything to me. I'm like, what's ECOSOC accreditation? United Nations, I know is on First Avenue and 44th Street or 45th Street, but I've been there once for a party, an event. I had no idea. That was 10 years ago, and I attended CSW 55. And Michelle Bachelet gave a speech. UN Women was established, launched that day, that year. And I listened to her and I thought, wow, there's a whole another world out there. And it just clicked. Something literally just clicked in my head and said, this is where I need to be. So I basically changed my life in 2010. I got divorced, not because of UN. I was already getting divorced. We can't blame United Nations for that. And I have to say, this is why it's so amazing to come full circle here. The reason I am who I am now and where I am is because of Sun Young Yoon, who we're all going to hear from later. She was involved with NGO CSW, and somebody told me, you know, again, it's like one of those things, because I actually am a networker. My field was public relation and marketing, so I was not shy, just like you, Carlos. I raised my hand and spoke up all the time, just like you. So, you know, many people were engaging with me, but there was one person who actually, and I obviously felt a little bit left out because I was not in this world. I had not been an advocate. I don't even think I could claim to be a feminist back then. But I knew I had passion, and I knew there was human rights in me because my grandparents survived the genocide. My parents were surviving a civil war in Lebanon. I had survived an early marriage, and I wanted the world to be more fair than what I had seen in my family. Mind you, my story compared to some others is nothing. I mean, again, I feel completely privileged that I was able to live in a city like New York City and have a voice and have language. I mean, nobody feels sorry for me, please. But, you know, it was a history that I was carrying. It was ancestral pain that I was carrying that I wanted to make right. And United Nations was a vehicle that helped me do that, and still hopefully am doing that. So just to come full circle, I showed up at an NGO CSW meeting and started talking to Sun Young Yoon, and she just gave me so much confidence. Even though I didn't have the educational background, I didn't have the resume, she said, you have something. Everybody can, you know, contribute something if you really want to do this. And she gave me a chance to really get involved with NGO CSW. I think the first year I was an advisor. That was the first title she gave me. And then, of course, 10 years later, and I just want to say this since this is about leadership, and then I'll stop and would love to hear questions from others as well. I didn't set out to be a leader. That is not my goal. I don't want to be a leader. But I know that every day I get up and I put one foot in front of the other and do what is necessary to achieve what to me is fairness, human rights, kindness, joy. That's what I want to bring to the world. And if being the chair of NGO CSW is the means that I will achieve that, I'm not afraid of that. Of course, I'll be a leader. And I took the role on, obviously, because I am apparently the chair. That's what they keep telling me, and it's listed on the website. But for me, leadership, really, you don't become a leader to be a leader. I set out to make a difference. It was never about the role, it's about the goal. So I'll stop there and take more questions or any other comments. Wait, did we lose Carlos? Oh, here.
I
No,
think
he's here.
Carlos had a problem, but we can continue with the program. Saphira, thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for everything that you are doing. We would like to know more about you. Can you introduce yourself?
Sure, yeah, I can introduce myself. My name is Saphira Rameshfar. I am originally from Australia. I come from a very small farming community in the northern part of Australia. And kind of over the past few years I started out kind of working in grassroots community organizing for young people and for a youth empowerment and community building organization, and eventually started to work with my Australian federal government, and then eventually moved to New York to start a role at the United Nations. So in many ways, it was kind of starting locally, moving to the national level, and now I'm at the international level. So I serve as a representative for the Baha'i international community, which has an office at the United Nations and represents the worldwide Baha'i community to the UN. And I work with Houry very closely in the NGO Committee on the Status of Women, and Sun Young, who you'll hear from a little bit later. So we're all serving on the executive committee of the NGO Committee on the Status of Women. And as part of that, I also serve as one of the co-chairs for the Youth Leaders and Young Professionals program, which many of you on the call today have been a part of, or you've been an invited guest to the YLYP space. And what's really special about that, and if I can just tie a little bit into this question about leadership that we're exploring today, it really feels like, at least in the past few years, young people have been able to really bring new energy and their talents and their, new ideas and innovation to the United Nations, and that there has been a little bit more of an opening space. But in a way, it feels like young people are starting to think about leadership in different ways, that, it's moving away from kind of the historical, person in charge, delegating, telling people what to do, but really moving more to a very thoughtful, collaborative, team-based, consultative model of leadership. And that's definitely something that those at NGO CSW and Houry especially has been really trying to learn and embody that kind of collaborative shared leadership. And it really feels like young people who are just outstanding, and the Youth Leaders and Young Professionals has this global network of really outstanding young people who are supporting one another and sharing ideas and sharing their insights and wisdom. And to me, that's what leadership is. It's not a title necessarily, or a role that you step into when you're designated the title of a leader, but anyone can be a leader in any space, in any sphere of our interaction. And to me, it's about enabling. It's about creating enabling environments. It's about supporting others. It's about connecting. And it's these kind of human qualities that you're able to embody that draw people to you. People are attracted to those who are willing to help and willing to kind of open up pathways and opportunities for others. So I'll leave it there for now. Back to you, Vasu, or Carlos, now who's back.
Yeah, thank you very much, Amir.
Hi, Saphira. Do you hear me well? Perfect. So I'm so sorry that I leave so suddenly. My internet. Well, I live in Venezuela, so internet connection issues is pretty normal here. But I was so happy and excited to hear Saphira telling a little bit about herself and her experience. And as a young female leader, I really want to ask you, how do you see that? I know that you give us like a little example of what you see on young people going through leaderships, but I want to know, how do you see that? Do you think that women or young women are being empowered enough to be these female leaders of today?
Yeah, I think it's a real process. I think that there are still many barriers to leadership, and particularly young women. Often there isn't, the structure there to support There also, in many places, is still not a culture that's supporting young women or opening up space for their voice. And I think also in many ways, we hold ourselves back as young people and young women, and particularly minority women, tend to not see ourselves reflected in traditional leadership roles. And, you know, maybe I don't speak the way that, you know, a leader should, or I don't command the, you know, kind of attention that a leader should, or I'm not ready yet. Maybe there's so that I think there's also a lot of kind of self-questioning. And I feel like there are ways in which opportunities are slowly starting to open up. Obviously, there's a long way to go, but I do feel like there is movement there and there are opportunities there. But I would, for those who are, you know, young women, particularly wanting to move into these roles, I would definitely say, you know, challenge yourself to speak up, put yourself forward, share your ideas that might be different. Bring that different perspective and share it with confidence. And also, you can lead in every space. Try to extend those skills and offer what you can in every space that is open to you. It doesn't have to be just be in one particular professional area that you have your eye on. And that, you know, feel comfortable to bring in a new mode of leadership. The world needs more collaboration. It needs those who will listen and truly understand and bring different perspectives. So try to model this and create a new leadership style and a new culture around leadership where you can.
Absolutely wonderful answer, Saphira. Thank you so much. And another question that I would like to ask you as a young female leader is that you are actually a United Nations representative for Baha'i international community, but also you are the co-chair of Young Leadership Professionals program. So you have these two amazing spaces where you can work. And I think like one of the questions I must ask you is that how do you keep your team motivated despite conflicts and obstacles?
That's a great question. Yeah, there are definitely a lot of, you know, challenges along the way. I've been at the UN now for about 8 years, which is a long time and has, you know, really flown. And there can be many things that kind of come up. So I would say to keep a team motivated, it's always really important to keep our eye on the big vision. What is it that we are doing together? What is the big goal that we are working towards? To make sure that everybody's voice is heard, that we consult equally as a team. You know, when we brainstorm and we consult together, I think we get a broader sense of what the issues are at play. And then brainstorming together, being creative, kind of throwing out ideas. How can we, you know, move past this challenge? What is a creative way? What's something that we haven't tried? Let's experiment a little bit with this. And I think always honoring each other and recognizing the effort and the energy and the time that each person has contributed to the team. So I think it's a combination of having a clear direction, an eye on the vision, being okay to make mistakes and create and brainstorm and be, you know, innovative when challenges come up, and then really honoring and respecting and encouraging one another as human beings and as people and as part of the team builds a resilience, and you feel like you're addressing challenges together. It's not all on one person. You really are truly friends and truly trying to work together to figure something out. But I've been very lucky.
Beautiful. I think that's a beautiful, beautiful answer, Saphira. And you know, I feel really, really great that you say
Oh, sorry, Carlos. I can't hear you. I think we've lost you.
Yeah, we lose Carlos.
I don't know, Vasu, if you wanted to just jump in.
Thank you. Yeah, I will say thank you for inspiring, Saphira. all the young people, really. We appreciate so much your inspiration. And for continue, we would like to know more about Jenni. Jenni, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I think I'm unmuted now. Thank you, Vasu. Thank you, Carlos, wherever you are in the ether. It's wonderful to be with you and with all these other amazing women, Houry and Saphira and Sunyang, and some I've known for a long time, some I've met recently, and some I'm delighted to be with. So my name's Jenni Prisk, and I'm continuing the down under approach here because I'm actually speaking to you from New Zealand, although I have lived in San Diego, California for the last 37 years. And we went there in 1983 from New Zealand because my husband was invited to work on the space program, and he developed experiments for the lungs that flew in 7 space shuttles and 3 times were manifested on space station. And quite often when I share that, people say, oh, I'd much rather talk about your husband's work than yours. However, I know today we're here to talk about women and leadership, and particularly young people. And Houry, you always inspire me, and Saphira, you continue to do so. I learn so much from you every time I hear you speak. So I didn't start out at all in New Zealand with any concepts of leadership. In fact, for 28 years of my life, I was a personal assistant. I was a rebel. I absolutely refused to go to university, although I had amazing opportunities. And I just wanted to assist and work in an office where I would network and I would meet people. But I do know now, looking back, that that grounded me with regards to organizational skills. And I think in my own way, without realizing it, I was actually developing leadership skills without knowing it. In those early days. And you can tell I've been around a long time when you look at the color of my hair. So anyway, when I went to America, I couldn't work for a start. I didn't have a work permit, and I had to spend a lot of time volunteering to keep me sane. And I was always led to volunteering for women and with women and around leadership, in other words, developing others. And after I'd worked at the newspaper for about 5 years, I decided it was time to complete a diploma in speech and drama, which I did extramurally, which means I did that outside the walls of an actual college. My diploma is from an English college. And that allowed me the ability to start my business, Prisk Communication. And my biggest goal with that was to not only help people find their voices and use their voices, but it was particularly to work with women, because I believe that when a woman finds her voice and can use her voice, that's when the world changes. And we're seeing that now with leadership globally, that the more women speak up and the more they speak out, as Saphira has said, the stronger the community gets or the unity gets around issues. And if we don't speak out for ourselves, we may find that others don't necessarily do it for us. We're lucky on this call and in this community that we have people of all genders supporting us, but women have got to find their voices. So I'm still providing coaching and training with Prisk Communication. But I think where I realized that my life was changing was after 9/11, which I know many of you, if not all of you, will remember. And that changed the lives of Americans. That changed the look of the global or of the American situation of the United States for the rest of the world. And that happened on the 11th of September in 2001. And by October the 17th of 2001, I had founded an organization called Voices of Women, because I felt that we had to do something and we had to speak up. And so Voices of Women had a mission to educate and empower women globally. That's the simple form of the mission. And for 15 years, we ran that organization, getting women leaders to stand up and speak. And we had 80 educational events that were all presented in San Diego. As a consequence of that, we had women from Iraq, we had a woman from Iran, we had panels, we had presentations. And as a consequence, through Voices of Women, I made my first visit to the Commission on the Status of Women at the United Nations about 8 years ago. And that changed my life. Going to the Commission meetings, as many of us, you have just experienced virtually. And when we can get back to actually going to the United Nations, it's going to be so exciting again. Although Houry and her team did an incredible job of being able to manage it, and 27,000 of us virtually. However, that changed my life. I found as a consequence of that I joined the Commission on the Status of Women for San Diego County, and then ended up chairing that for 3 years. And then as a consequence of that, was invited to be the president of the Association of California Commissions for Women, which I did for 2 years. So looking at leadership, this was leadership by accident. But it's leadership, I believe, and I want to express this particularly to the young people on this call, but to everyone. It's where your passion lies. When you believe in a cause fervently and ardently and passionately, then other people do follow you and they join you and they collaborate with you. It wasn't about my standing above anybody else, although I was standing on the shoulders of giants, and I know that's been said before. I wouldn't have gained my positioning without having other examples, other role models. Soon Young Yoon is a role model of mine and has helped me and provided so much support over the years. But it's knowing that you're passionate, and it's knowing that you care. And when other people see that in you, they follow you. So leadership, as Saphira said, it's not a title. It's a being, it's a way of being that is usually exemplified through empathy, that is exemplified through a collaborative approach. It's exemplified through understanding others' cultures and also understanding other orientations. And to just round my story off, now that I'm in New Zealand, where I'm getting the great thrill to work alongside one of the former Prime Ministers of New Zealand, Dame Jenni Shipley. She and I are working on an initiative to uplift and empower and find a new platform for Māori leaders, for our Māori wahine, which is Māori women in New Zealand. So I think I'll stop there, but I hope that that's given you just a little impression of what it takes to be a leader. When you're passionate, other people join you. And thank you.
Wow. Well, first of all, I'm back. And second, oh my God. I literally couldn't sit here for ages, just hearing you speak, Jenni, of your experience and everything you are doing and your vision of a leadership, a modern leadership, which I really respect a lot. And I do thank you for your amazing advocacy and your amazing power. Actually, I remember when I meet Jenni, Jenni and I meet in a event from GLGP, Young Leadership Professionals Program, and she was giving us this amazing class on how to introduce yourself or elevator speech. And I remember one thing that she did that is still on my mind till today. She gave us 2 examples of how give a brilliant speech, like she's doing right now, with a big smile on her face and her face brilliantly, and then something like, all gray and all boring. And that's the capacity Jenni has to actually give a speech and make everyone understand what she tries to say, which is amazing. And I want to ask you, Jenni, what leads you to go to teach people to learn how to make a good speech? What led you to there? Why did you like to go through that direction?
Well, thank you for that, Carlos. Everyone, as I said, has a voice and everybody has a message. And it's very sad to me if I think that there are people in the world who don't get that message out. Now, is every message going to reach a high platform? Not necessarily, but it is going to impact the lives of people close to you and people who need to hear from you in your communities. And so I've always felt that if I can draw the voice out and the words and the message, the passion, the heart, the emotion of a belief out of people so that they can address it on a platform, then my work is done. I'm 72 years old now, so I know that I am so ready to hand over to young women. I'm mentoring a number of young women around the world because I want them to be heard. So I've learned over the years, and I've had my falls and a lot of obstacles to overcome. I've actually, which a lot of people don't see in me, but I've actually reached the bottom of the barrel with very, very bad depression. And I'm writing a book and it's going to be out later this year. So if you want to read about it, we can talk about that later. However, the important thing is that I want to be there to promote others to have their voices heard so that they in turn will pass it forward and enable others to be heard. Because as we pass that chain around our global community of women and men and of leaders who are compassionate, then everybody is going to be heard. It doesn't take much to help someone to get their message out. And I'm available to help with that whenever I can.
Amazing, Jenni. Thank you so much. And another question in that scenario of helping each other and helping other women to find this leadership position, to have more women or more female leaders on this work that is absolutely needed. I want to ask, how best can women in leadership positions help amplify other women, including highlighting and tackling issues particularly affecting women?
That's a very big question and a very important question, Carlos. I always remember that the former Secretary of State, Madeleine Albright, the former Secretary of State of the United States, said, there ought to be a place in hell for women who don't support other women. And over the years in business, I've seen that where women often wouldn't help other women because they felt threatened. Now that's changing, and I particularly see that in younger women as they lead. The more we can do to help other women to rise to the top, to rise to their potential, and to stand on their own platforms, the more we rise with them. We all rise together. Maya Angelou talked about us all rising together. So by my helping another woman, it doesn't set me back. It doesn't put me behind. It puts me on a level with her. But if I don't reach the heights that she does, what I can do is stand back in the shadows and I can watch her and I can smile and say, I may not have been able to carry the message, but you can. And when you can carry the message, you're carrying it for me and for every other woman. It's the only way that we are going to reach an equality on this globe of ours. It's the only way we're going to get equal pay. We're going to get equal understanding. We're going to get equal sexual and cultural and orientation rights, is for each of us to stand beside each other, but from time to time stand on each other's shoulders. We must support other women. And if it means that means we have to stand back a little bit and let others move forward, so be it. I get no greater thrill than when I read an article about somebody stepping up, particularly a young woman, stepping up, and she has defied her government or she has defied a policy because she knows that that's not right for the women that she lives with or who share her community with her. I get goosebumps. So it's just a matter of we all support each other. That's why we're on this call today.
Absolutely brilliant, Jenni. Absolutely brilliant. I think I agree with everyone else when I said you are so right that we need more women in leadership role, but we need also women to stick together, help each other, and find that leadership position. Go there fight for it, but fight for it together. And I think the last question I have for you is, have you ever experienced misogyny or rejection due to being a female leader?
Yes, I have, Carlos. And actually, I didn't think of myself as a leader at the time. This was back in my secretarial role back in New Zealand, where I am now, but many, many years ago when I was in my 20s. And I had a wonderful job where I was actually a personal assistant to 4 men who founded a computer company. And they were very brilliant men. They were kind men. They were very, very clever. They were able to establish this company. And they taught me a lot about leadership by observing them. However, when it came around to salary increases or pay increases, all the men and the other male leaders in the company received an increased compensation annually. And when I asked for it, I did not. And I challenged it and I said, but I'm working just as hard as they are in a different capacity. And this is something we always have to remember. Our capacity may be different, but we are still rolling the wheels of that organization forward. And I said, how come you increase their salary, but you don't increase mine? Their answer was, oh, but Jenni, you get so many perks through us. You know, you get to drive our company car whenever you'd like it. We give you compensatory time off, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, but that isn't the same as giving me fiscal increases, as giving me an increase in my salary. So to cut a long story short, I never won with them. I adored them, I respected them, I admired them, but that was always that wedge in that situation, that there was that, it was a misogyny, was I was a female, I was a secretary, therefore I wasn't worthy of it. And that's why nowadays, one of my greatest causes is that I'm always thinking about pay equality, because when you move the wheels of an organization, a company, a corporation forward, you are an equal part of that, and you deserve, when you're in those positions, that equal remuneration.
Thank you so much, Jenni, for that amazing and brilliant answer. And it's so, you know, this is all like the true stories that we all need to hear, because even though that happened before, it's something that is still happening today. There are many Jenni Priks out there who are happening through the same thing, doing the same work the men do, but being paying less. And this is exactly why we need to speak about it. We need to talk about it. And we need people with experience like Houry or Jenni who can give us their experience and the advices on how can we deal with that? How can we talk that down? Because we need, as Jenni said, we need equal pay for everyone else. You do the same job, you have the same pay. And I know I said the last question would be the last one, but I'm very curious on what your answer would be on this one. And my ultimate last question, I swear, it's what will be your advice to all the young female leaders out there?
I can give you this advice in a few bullet points. Look in the mirror every day and appreciate, admire yourself and say, I am looking at the best leader. Tell yourself that every day. I had to learn to do this, and I've done this exercise because I had a lot of, during my depression, I had a lot of self-loathing. I had a lot of factors about myself that I didn't appreciate. So every day you start it, you look in that mirror and you say, yes, I'm going out to lead the world. And in your own way, every day you will as a consequence. Never let anybody put you down. If you hear anything that is misogynistic, that is an insult, that is derogatory about you, you fight that back. You must speak that back up. I belong to a Rotary Club here, and one of the gentlemen made a comment about me. He didn't mean it unkindly. He meant it in a humorous way, but it came across very badly. And right across that room at the Rotary meeting, I challenged him. Again, I challenged him him kindly, but I said, I won't tolerate that kind of comment. You wouldn't say it to the men, so don't say it to me. So every day be listening for that and be fighting for yourself and be fighting for other women as well. Carry yourself with confidence. Stand up straight, sit straight. Smile a lot, because when you smile, it completely disarms other people. Get to the point when you speak. That's also extremely important. Occasionally, women take a long time to get to the point. They take too long to tell their stories, and those stories are often filled with a lot of apologies. You don't need to apologize for everything. As a woman, you hold up half the sky. Therefore, everything you have to say is extremely important for every young leader. So get to the point and make it confidently, and lead with that passion and with care and with empathy, and try always to walk in other people's shoes, but don't let them stand on your feet. You count.
Okay, standing ovation, standing ovation, standing
And
ovation.
no more questions. You need to move
No
on
more
to your other
questions.
panelists.
No, but I knew it was a good idea to ask you that one. Thank you so much, Jenni. It was so inspirational. And as I say before, all my respect and admiration to you, because I really see you and I see a great, great female leader, a great example, and a great role model. Thank you so much, Jenni, for joining us. It was amazing to hear from you. Thank you. Next
welcome.
one, we have, she was named here several times by our prior guest. She is the chair of the board at the Women's Environment Development Organization and United Nations representative for the International Alliance of Women. During her past tenure as chair of the CSW New York, the committee launched the City for Sedow campaign in the USA. Please give a warm welcome to the one and only Sung Yoon. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Carlos. Nice to be with you all. I suppose I'm supposed to introduce myself. So I am Sunyoung Yoon. In Korean, my name means peace forever. I was born during the war in Pyongyang, North Korea. Came to the United States when I was 2.5 and raised in Michigan. Then became very disillusioned with teaching at Michigan State University as a professor of anthropology. And I went back to Korea, Seoul, Korea, where I taught at Ewha Women's University. And then from there, I worked for the UN, for UNICEF, and have been kind of in and out of the UN ever since. My LinkedIn profile says, I now work for the UN and sometimes I get paid. So, Carlos, is that enough about me?
Actually, no, it will never be enough about you, but it's a good start.
Okay.
And, you know, one of the things that we need to say about you is that here we have not only Houry, who is the new chair of CSW New York, but also Saphira Rameshfar and Jenni have said that you were their role models. So how does that feel? How does that feel that 3 female leaders that are today here say that you are their mentor, that you are their role model? How do you feel?
Carlos, that was not on your list of questions. So I love teaching. I love teaching. So if there's anything that I can pass on, that is something that I love to do. So anyone who wants to learn from me, I'm happy to pass that on. I wanted to bring up a little bit what I think are really important qualities of leadership. Some of the former speakers brought this up, that you can, being a leader doesn't mean you're at the top of the pecking order or that you have a grand title. It really, to me, means that you are someone who has, around the UN, it means that you have courage. That means that you have the courage to speak truth to the UN if necessary. And since we are all interested in the UN, I wanted to focus a little bit more on that. How do you become a leader at the UN and around the UN, which I think this group really is. So it's really important, I think, to have courage and to have knowledgeable courage. I think that people turn to others who know what they're talking about and who tell truth. So that is something else that I would highly recommend, is that if you're interested in the UN and having an influence and becoming a decision maker at the UN, it's really important to know how the UN works and to see it from the inside as well as from the outside. I'm not sure that answered your question, Carlos, but I was trying to change it, the question into something that might be useful for this group.
Yes, of course, it was a great answer, Sun Yoon. And it's really great to also know your backgrounds and what your name means, which is absolutely beautiful, by the way. So let's get to the question, to the real questions. What do you think is needed to have more women in leadership roles?
There are two things. There's the inside part, I think, and there's the outside part, and the two of them have to work together. I think it's great to be motivated. It's great to be passionate. I think it's important to have the ability to constantly evolve, constantly challenge yourself. I would say it's really important to go into unknown places, to pick roles and things like Houry did. She jumped into this committee. She is evolving with it. We are all evolving ourselves in these so-called leadership roles. I see some of you in the chat saying that you're even running for office, that you're a young youth leader with a GEF, which is great. I would say just keep exploring those new places, and don't be held back because you think you don't belong there. That is very typically, Jenni will support this. This is very typical of women to say, oh, I'm not sure I'm qualified for that. So I would say keep moving forward. So that's the inner part, evolving, looking in the mirror, saying you can do it. There has to also be an external part. There has to be a reward system. There has to be something that's supported. And at the UN, we talk a lot about that. We talk a lot about the possibilities of, for example, quota systems. CEDAW, the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, actually promotes the idea of quota systems, because when you put in your constitution that 30% of your politicians have to be women, that is a structural framework, a space then that you can move into. The other kind of important thing that can be done at the very top is whoever is at the very top also needs to open that space for you, whether it's the president of the university, your professor at the university, or the president of a country. And if they start closing that space, it is extremely hard for women to move into that space.
I think this is really, really important what you're just saying, Sun Yoon. And I think one of the questions I also want to make, as you know, as I said before, like the house or panel, and yes, this is a question that is not listed, I'm sorry, but don't worry, it's an easy question.
You're not listed, so that's okay.
But I really wanted to know, as house or female leaders of today have said that you are their role model. And I see that as something really important, because you are the example of what means women supporting women and how that can actually achieve women getting more position of leaderships, like Jenni, like Saphira, like Houry. So I want also to know, how did you get where you are? Do you have a role model to follow, like, for example, someone like you for Jenni or Saphira?
Carlos, I am so glad you asked that question. I've been dying to talk about my grandfather.
Go ahead.
So I think a really important point about women who aspire to leadership is to remember that men are not the problem. I inherited my feminism from my grandfather, who passed it on to his children. He was a landowner and businessman in North Korea with only 6 children, one boy, in a society which was highly Confucian, where you normally would only educate the boy, where you'd give all of the next generation possibilities to boys. And what he did is open it up and gave equal inheritance to all the girls. He sent my mom to university, this is 1920s, sent my mom to university in the United States, sent my aunt to Japan. She ended up at the University of Michigan. So when you have men and young men like yourself, and they are with us, that is really something that you can pass on to the next generation. You yourself, Carlos, are going to be a mentor to someone else. So do aspire to that, do aspire to that. So I think it's really important. We see this as a lifelong adventure in a way, where men and women come in and out of your lives. And in my case, I was so lucky that it was passed on to my parents. My parents passed it on to me. And I felt very comfortable in this universe of human rights and feminism. Some people don't have that from their fathers. And that is also sometimes a transforming part of their lives. They become feminists because of that. But yeah, that's sort of how I got where I was. And I have to say that we talk about standing on the shoulders. I stood on the shoulders of my grandfather.
Amazing. And I'm so happy to know that it was actually a man that give you that power and the empowerment to be the woman you are right now, this support.
And look at all of your great men leaders, and I bet their mothers raised them right.
Yes, exactly.
I'm thinking of former President Obama, whose mother raised him right.
Yes, absolutely.
And
Mm-hmm.
Jenni was saying, what can we give to the next generation? For sure, whether it's parents or professors or those that you look up to, it's so important, I think, to find that spark. As a teacher, I used to feel like this was my mission, to find that spark, that genius that everyone is born with, and that you then raise up and you point out to them. Really what a good teacher does is they find that spark and they tell that person, you've got it. It may be working with animals, it may be being an empathetic friend, whatever it is, that quality that person has. I think we all become mentors of other people if we decide that really that is what we want to do. Of course, that's what friends do, right? Friends become mentors of each other that way. But to me, that's what a mentor does. They only find that spark and they say, that is your gift. And because you don't always know. How can you know? Because you don't have an impact on someone else, right? So Carlos, what's your gift? You tell me, what's your gift?
Thank you so much. So I'm so inspired by your story. And again, I was trying to say that I love the fact that this is exactly example of how men and women can work together for a greater goal, to the greater goal. And it's that, for example, Sun Yoon is a role model for Jenni, Saphira, and Houry, and so many other people out there who are already a leader. But Sun Yoon have that amazing opportunity that life gives her, that she have a family with these strong base values that were passing through generations. That's exactly what we need right now in our work. Give this our experience or knowledge to the next generations so they can build a better world, even better than the one we have right now. And the last question I have for you, you may say, oh my God, Carlos, why so many questions? This is a listed one, so don't worry. The last question I wanted to, and I wanted to make it to you because I really want to know what your answer could be. And it's that, do you believe there is an equal opportunity for women to obtain leadership or high-level positions?
Gosh, put that in a context, Carlos.
Okay, so let's say in a modern era, 2021, 21st century,
Okay.
do you think that we have come so far as a society to have an equality for opportunities to women to obtain leadership and high-level positions? Like, for example, 15 years ago, we will never have an event like this of women in leadership roles, like woman owners business, woman with high position in the United Nations, woman being chairs of organization. Do you think that right now we have equality for women on opportunities on obtaining this leadership in high-level positions?
I think that we are at a turning point. I think we're at a turning point in many, many ways. So the women's movement to me is the most powerful nonviolent movement of the modern era. So you can talk about today, but it really began in the 19th century and the colonial movement, et cetera. We see that history evolving. We are at this turning point at this point. And the turning point is that we understand what discrimination and equality does for 50% of the world, and that we need to get rid of it if we're going to save the planet. If you don't have 50% of the world's population leading, thinking, innovating, helping, moving the environment movement along, we are all going to perish. And so that crisis that we understand in the world, I think is going to accelerate our change. And I think from that, we're going to get a whole, you can transform this patriarchy in one generation. We did it in Korea. I really do believe we did it. We did it through education. But the crisis is what is demanding that now. And in that process, we as women are going to lift everyone else up because we understand what it feels like to be at the bottom. And we look around and we see, there are African Americans in America who are also at the bottom, and they're men and women, and they're young and old, and we need to lift them up with us because we need 100% of all human beings thinking, acting, and working to save our planet. I think what you're going to see at the post-COVID era is similar. Hopefully, that instead of closing the door, we'll open the door for everyone because we're going to need everyone to get out of this pandemic.
Thank you so much, Song Yoon, for your amazing and brilliant answer. As I said before, my congratulations to you. I almost admire and respect to you as well. Everything that you have said today, I think is really important for us, young generation, to take points, to take notes of this, because this is the kind of information and the kind of experience we need to keep on going with our advocacy and our work for a better world. So I do thank you so much for your amazing work, your advocacy, and everything that you're doing for changing the world. I really admire, really respect it. Thank you, Song Yoon.
Carlos, I do have a question for you.
Oh, well, that's okay.
What motivated you to organize this event?
Oh, that's an amazing question. Thank you.
Two sentences. I think we deserve to know.
Actually, I was inspired by CSW 65, and I was inspired by CSW New York, actually, to make this kind of event. Mostly because, over 700 events that the CSW 65 hosted, most of them, I realized, that were victimizing women. Like, we need more women on this, we need 2 women to this, we need more women in that. It's like, whoa, yes, we do need that. But do you see that there are women out there, female leaders out there right now that you're not visibilizing, that you're not taking into the spotlights? Why we have to base everything on victimizing when we can empower? And that's why I decided to organize this event, because I wanted more than victimize. I wanted to empower and to let everyone know these are the women of today who are changing the world. That's why.
Good answer. A+.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you so much. And I want also to thank everyone in the chat who is saying that I'm doing a great job moderating and organizing and all of that. But I do want you to know this is not about me. This is about the female leaders out here. Okay. So thank you for your great wishes and your comments. I really appreciate them. But please take your concentration on the female leaders that are here today, because this is one. This is, for me, this is a history moment. We have female leaders here giving us their experience and comments and ambitions, and we need to take notes of this, so we can go ahead and do our work. So last but not least, on today's first event on women in leadership roles are looking to the present, we have Patricia Kumbakisaka, which I absolutely love that last name, Kumbakisaka. I really love it. Patricia is a foreign policy researcher in strategic communication and partnership coordinator in the International Cooperation Department at the International Association of Political Science in collaboration with UNAC in Ottawa. And she recently got appointed as the 2020 Global Ambassador of Canada for Youth Opportunity, which is one of the biggest international youth organizations in the world, with a great network of amazing young professionals doing extraordinary things in both local and international community. She was also named one of Canada's most accomplished Black women for 2020 and Canadian Woman of Influence for 2021. Girl, with that video, we can do a whole event. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Patricia Kumbakisaka, and I'll tell you a little bit about myself. So I was born in Bucharest, Romania, actually. And at the age of 3, my family and I moved to Athens, Greece, where we lived for 7 years. And we immigrated to Canada 21 years ago. And we are now proud Canadian citizens. So I speak French, English, Greek, Swahili, Romanian, and basic Lingala. So we moved around a lot because my parents were working in the diplomatic field, and my family is originally from the city of Kinshasa in the Democratic Republic of Congo, formerly known as Zaire. It's in Central Africa. And however, I've never been to DRC, but I hope to go there someday. So when Carlos reached out to me to tell me about this event, I was super pumped, especially to hear about the amazing journeys of these incredible women that we have tonight, and also to share with all of you my journey as well. So we all come here from diverse backgrounds and have various different skills. And one thing that we all share in common is that we are movers and shakers, and we want to make a positive impact into this world. We ourselves, as empowered women leaders, also have many women that we know and we look up to. So it could be someone in politics, it could be our mom, our sister, a famous activist, just anybody that you know that is there to inspire you. Today, I'm happy to take you to my personal leadership journey and share with you my experience on how I got to be where I am right now as a young woman through my victories and limitations, and I guess few obstacles too. To me, leadership is the capacity to translate vision and reality. So as I mentioned, I immigrated to Canada when I was 10 years old. And since at a young age, I've always been passionate to help and making a difference in the world. So you may think 10 years old is a bit young. Well, it is, but it's actually an age where you get to see a lot. And I find that when you are, the younger you are, the more you get to see. It depends on your surroundings, of course. And as I mentioned before, my family is diplomatic, and the fact that we lived in different countries, it's kind of how my eyes got open to see and to understand various different cultures and work and interact with each other, how they work and interact with each other since a young age. And this is what inspired me to go into the international relations and political science field. So my family and I have always been surrounded with friends and people from various different backgrounds. So when I was 14 years old, I started volunteering at a federal and provincial Canadian political party. And I joined the young group of the group of the political party here in Canada. And of course, I was not old enough to vote, but I got to understand how the Canadian politics work and how much of an influence young people make, they take in this role as well. So I participated in campaigns, volunteer door knocking, and went campaigning with Canadian members of parliament, members of the Legislative Assembly, and many other government officials. So as I got older through middle school and high school and my university years, I continued to be more and more involved with politics and various advocacy organizations. And I also got involved in one of Canada's largest and longest running multicultural festival that celebrates and promotes the cultural understanding, and that's called Folklorama. It's amazing. If you're ever in Canada, please visit. And besides that, I got involved with the Canadian International Council, where I helped out with the International Affairs Organization and policy. I'm part of the Rotary Club. I did various human rights events and advocacy Canadian organizations that dealt with Canada and the world and in the international relations sector as well. So I'm still very active in those organizations, and even while I was still finishing my studies in international relations. So I got a chance to also work with Legislative Assembly as a researcher in the province of Manitoba, where I used to live before moving to Ottawa. And all those opportunities, is what has made me the leader, what has made me grow. I'm not saying I'm like 100% leader, but it's what has made me grow to where I am right now. And also, those things have made my eyes more open and understand more things as well. And in 2015, I was asked to run during the federal election in Canada to be a member of parliament, but unfortunately I was still finishing my studies. So I had declined that offer, but running for office is definitely still in my mind. So as you know, my passions is foreign policy, human rights advocacy, youth in diplomacy, and cultural diversity. Therefore, I previously developed a project and called it Canada's Diversity Advantage. And it was with the United Nations Association of Canada, in which I engaged various youth in Canada in an interactive sharing of multi-generational lived experience that cultivated the deeper understanding of the historic journey and the different, it explained the different stories of various immigration patterns that we have here in Canada. So the program rolled out in schools and community centers that were led by myself and raised the awareness on the migration patterns of Canadians. And it also enhanced the youth appreciation of their country's diverse population and the contribution to the diversity of Canada's identity. In 2016, I was the nominee and the chair of the Human Rights Council in UN Youth Association of Romania. So I actually got to go and work in the small Eastern European country where I was born. And I worked both in English and in Romanian as well. So it was a very interesting, internship to do there for a bit. I met amazing people. I learned a lot about Canada and Romania relationship as well. So it was very good. And as Carlos mentioned, I was just recently selected as the 2021 Global Ambassador of Canada for Youth Opportunities, which is a program, one of the biggest international youth organizations with a great network of amazing young professionals doing extraordinary things in both local and international community. So as a global ambassador, I get to partner with many youth organizations. And in my country here in Canada, I get to help lead projects that could be related to human rights, advocacy, youth in foreign policy, environment, and you name it, any event. In 2018, I got a chance to go to the UN as well. I was the youth delegate at the UN Youth Assembly, where I represented Canada, and I got a chance, to meet other outstanding young people and got a chance to elevate my voice in international dialogues, empowered youth to advocate for future generation, and mobilize youth as agents of impact of change. And I still continue to advocate for the youth and see that the voice of the youth is heard loud and clear. Right now, as Carlos told you, I live in Ottawa and work in Ottawa. And on top of that, I still continue to do various advocacy projects. So young people are not looking for change. We have our own power, and with motivation and collaboration. And my vision is for us to continue to derive ways to help implement those goals, which is why someday, I will run for office, and I hope to go into diplomacy or become an ambassador representing Canada. So that's kind of my goal and my dream. And I would like to end by telling you all to keep being amazing leaders and role models. Keep being the incredible example of resilience, strong action, and success. And do not let anybody or anything stop you from achieving your goals. I'm not saying that things will be easy. Of course, everything has obstacles in life. We all went through difficult times. We all heard the various panelists here tonight, the struggles they went through, but then they still move forward, which is really amazing. So we have to keep doing that. And we definitely need to continue to see more women like this. I think that's very important. So keep on rising and shining with full empowerment. And leadership is not about authority. It is about taking responsibility, and everybody can take responsibility. That is why we are here tonight. And people believe in each and every single one of you with the remarkable work that you are all doing. So I'm proud of all of you. It's amazing to hear all these stories. I wish I could talk more. I know we have a time limit, but again, this is great. I was very happy to be here, and I look forward to meet all of you. If you're ever in Canada, reach out, or if I'm ever in your respected countries as well, I will make sure I also reach out to you. So thank you for having me here tonight, and I wish you a great evening.
Patricia for president or prime minister. Wow. Wow. Just wow. I'm declaring myself your fan, Patricia. That was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing the amazing work in advocacy you are doing in Canada. And, I wasn't the only one that was mind blowing when you said that you speak like four different languages. That is still amazing. I actually told Patricia at the beginning of before the event, that I was so jealous. Like, I want to speak 4 languages too. But it's so great that you're doing these all amazing things, that you're achieving so much. And, there is a reason I wanted you at last, because you're actually the example of what our generation is achieving, or the example of what our generation is doing. And Patricia is that example. Patricia is that young female leader who is out there preparing herself, running for everything she can to take that leadership, to take that position, to take what is hers. And she's preparing for that, Like, for example, I know that Canada will be in great hands if Patricia Kumbakisaka becomes prime minister. And that's our generation. Like, we are so proud of you, Patricia. Thank you so much for joining us today. You are really, really, really admirable.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
So, having Patricia as the last speaker of today, I want to introduce you to 2 members of Generation Change International who were helping me out on this event today. Basu, Deidre, can you please turn your cameras on and your mic on, please?
Hi. Should I introduce myself first?
Yes, Deidre, please introduce yourself.
Okay. Perfect. My name is Deirdre O'Donnell. I'm a current high school student from the US, and I had the privilege of joining Carlos and the rest of the team in this event tonight. I'm so excited that I got to join and listen. I first became interested in feminism and learning more about the inequities around the world when I first arrived into high school and joined a club at our school called Girls Are International, and actually another member of that club is here today. And I didn't know a lot about feminism before joining the club, and there's often this idea surrounding feminism, especially when you're a young girl, that it's so radical and oh my. And I didn't know that it was a very real struggle that every female is impacted by. And then after going to the first meeting, I was like, oh my gosh, this is something that I became very, very passionate about it. So after joining GLI, I started attending the regional meetings beyond my high school. And then the application to attend the UN CSW as a youth delegate arrived. And I was so excited at this possible opportunity. So I applied and I was accepted to attend the UN CSW. And at the UN CSW, the passion just increased so much more, listening to so many different voices. The diverse group of people was very, very inspiring. And I was all similarly inspired today. But I'm just excited to take what I learned from the incredible leaders around me and apply it within my community and maybe beyond. But I'm just so excited to learn. And it was a pleasure attending this event tonight.
Thank you so much for introducing yourself, Deidre. I also want everyone to know that Deidre is also a member of Geudelekian Change International. She's the youngest member of GCIPP, which makes me feel old. But she's the next generation of activists and advocates, and I'm way too proud to have her in Geudelekian Change International, because I know that she's going to do great things in the future. Now I want you all to also meet Basu Bandu, another great Geudelekian Change International member. Hi, Basu. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much, Carlos. Thank you very much, everyone. I'm so happy to meet you, all of you, and to hear from you. I'm Basu Bandu. I'm from Mexico, but I live in the US. I'm supporting Arizona Faith Network, or the dialogue between the different religions, the interfaith dialogue. And I'm so happy and I'm here for support you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Basu, and thank you, Deidre, for your amazing work on helping me out today to, taking the lead on this event alongside me. I'm really happy and proud to have you both here in Geudelekian Change International. Now, we have 10 minutes before we end. So we end a little bit earlier, but that's great, because then we have the time for you to raise your hand if you would like to ask something to our amazing female leaders of today. So please, if you want to turn on your camera on and your mic on, and you want to ask something to our amazing female leaders of today, just raise your hand. And I see that we have already one person with her hands raised. So Crystal, please put your mic on.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I am actually in my office and my mask is on, so I don't want to, yes. So I am very, very impressed. I first want to congratulate you, Carlos, for your vision and for the passion that you have for the vision that is youth and women empowerment. I feel so comfortable in this setting because I myself, I am doing a lot of work in the youth space. And for some reason, every person who spoke on the panel today, something they said resonated deeply with me. There's a lot of challenges around the globe, especially the pandemic, provided a unique opportunity for us to connect like this. Where otherwise we may not have. But I'm particularly concerned about young men and women across the globe. Very often, our opinions are nearly silent. Our voices are nearly silent and our opinions are regarded less. And, you know, we are often used for the sake of tokenism. And, you know, we'll hear the cliche term, the youths are the future, and, you know, they need to step up and they need to get in the game. But how could we be the future when our present is compromised, where there are no real opportunities for us to really take up those leadership responsibilities? So I honestly would love to be a catalyst of change. I would love to connect with your platform. I actually run a global organization called Future Focus Empowerment Institute International. I have some 500 young ambassadors from all over the globe. A few of my African ambassador delegates are on the call here today. And, you know, I got into this forum through the United Nations, where I spoke at the Women's Forum, CSW 65 in 2019, sorry. And I think that it provides a unique opportunity for us to connect, and I would love to continue with this relationship, because I think, you know, we bring not different methods, but unique methods. If we use it collectively, can really shape the dynamics as to how we'll move forward. So I'm happy to be here, and I usually not one of many words. I'm a leader that operates in the background, but I think sometimes we ought to open our mouths and, you know, say it as it is. So I'm grateful. I know they're in the background there and they're probably laughing because they don't usually hear me speaking, but it is an honor to speak on their behalf today, and it's an honor to share this platform with, you know, such wise people. And you yourself, Carlos, like I see you. I just want you to know that I see you. All right, so congratulations and thank you for this. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much, Crystal. You know, that was so sweet of you. Thank you so much. And yes, Generation Change International is open for everyone to join and you know, to work alongside us. Please find the link of our social media on the Zoom chat. There you can see not just our social media, but also our website. And then we can, you know, communicate with each other. And who knows, maybe we can work on something together in the future. Next one, I will give the mic to Rosaline Grace. Also, hi, Rosaline, how are you? You can turn on your mic. Oh, Rosaline, your mic is off. I can hear you.
Are you hearing me?
Perfect.
Yes, my name's Rosaline Grace also, aspiring candidate of Githurai Ward, Roysambu constituency, Nairobi County, Kenya. I'm so happy to be in this meeting and discussion. I've been struggling in this journey of leadership. I vied in 2013. And I was the best loser, but still I'm in the race for 2022. So before, when I was booking for this meeting, I said I would have a question for you. So my question goes this way. Are you able to connect female candidates who are weak financially, and especially in African regions, where women are not given more space easily? We have to struggle, and we are not allowed even to sell our lands or any property in order to exchange in terms of money to help you run around to create your office as a secretariat to manage your campaign plannings. And do you have what kind of a plan or strategies you have for such candidates? I'm running for 2022. And I would really appreciate if there is a way you can connect the female candidates who are out there to struggle for these positions. As we say, we want more women in power and in leadership. Yeah, at the moment, I'm a committee member in National Government Affirmative Action Fund, where I represent my constituency, Roysambu, and here my major activities and role is to empower youth and women economically. education, we give bursary, full scholarship. The funds are from the ministry, but the funds are channeled in the docket of women representative, where I am a representative. So being that the challenges I face and being a woman in the same community, I've seen the impact which the activities and the implementation of the project have been implementing in the community. It has brought a very big impact in the community. So I feel if I can actually get enough funds, a support, if I can behold to climb the ladder, to maneuver my campaigns properly, I am able to deliver. I believe in my leadership because I've seen many have really got changes in terms of students, vulnerable students. This is in area of education, young women in trainings. I've been motivating them. I've been mentoring them. I've been moving around with them. And that is why it was my major questions to bring to you today. What are you going to do with us? Are you in a position to connect us with organizations who are out there to support the grassroots woman who is capable, who is able to deliver the service to the community? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rosalind, for your amazing and really important question. I see that Son Young might like to answer that question because she has her hands raised. But before I go to her, I just want to invite you to come tomorrow, 10 a.m. New York time, to our second day, because you are going to have the opportunity to give the same question to female leaders from South Africa. So that will be maybe more an accurate answer for that in your area. But come on, Son Young, you can answer that.
Well, I jumped in because I thought maybe this is not something that your organization actually would deal with. Just to be clear that to Rosalind, to encourage her to continue down this very important pathway, which probably can go further than the grassroots. What I wanted to say is that there is an organization which I've come to know called the Interparliamentary Union. I'm going to put their name in this chat. They don't necessarily provide financial support, but they are the one organization with very, very ambitious gender promoting, women promoting motives and goals. So please try to be in touch with the Interparliamentary Union. And I think you will find that there are many like-minded women there as well. I remember crossing paths with some of the parliamentarians in different places, and the financial barriers are the most serious barriers for women.
Thank you so much, Son Yoon and Rosalind. Again, my invitation for you is to come tomorrow, 10 a.m. New York time, to our second day and final day, the Women in Leadership Role Looking to the Present, where you're going to have the opportunity to talk this issue to African female leaders. So we are running out of time, so I'm going to give the position to Laura Moncada. You can turn on your mic and please try to be short. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. Hi, Carlos. I'm actually from Venezuela, too. Yes, I'm a Generation Equality Forum youth activist. We actually saw each other at CSW, if I'm not mistaken. I'm the founder of Girl of Venezuela and United Voices, two youth-led organizations that aim to advance gender equality in Venezuela and worldwide. And my question is directed to Jenni. And the question is, what is the biggest challenge you face in your advocacy path? And why do you, how did you overcome it? How are you, why are you still here, fighting for the feminist movement and inspiring others to do so as well after so many years?
Thank you, Laura. I think you said that was for Jenni, right? Yes. Okay, correct. Thank you. Why am I still here? Well, that's a very interesting question that I ask myself sometimes too. I think what happens when you believe in something very, very passionately, and I know I use that word a lot, you just can't let it go. I'm going to do this with my last breath. I'm going to be working on fighting for rights and for justice. It's not just for women's rights, it's for global justice everywhere, because it becomes almost like a mantra, a daily mantra. I find now, as I age, that every particular situation I walk into, I look at where the empathy might lie. In other words, if we can walk in and as human beings be so very judgmental, but I find now that every situation I walk into, if somebody makes a criticism, I think, no, why is that person acting the way they are? What is their background? What is their story? What are the actions that have led them to being who they are today? Because every single person on this planet is here for a purpose and worthy of their place on this planet. And if we can think with more empathy, I think that it keeps us going, because there's a constant curiosity. Why am I here? Why are you here? Why is Carlos here? Why is everybody who's been on this call today? We're all here for a purpose. And that in itself is what wakes me up every morning. So every day I try to think, can I move the dial forward? I can only do it in minor ways some days, because I'm not as involved with the organizations as I used to be. However, I can write something, I can say something to somebody. Yes, I've had to overcome a lot of obstacles. I was badly abused growing up. If I'm going to be absolutely honest with you, I've actually tried suicide, because I felt that there was no place for me on this planet. And when you come back from places like that, you start to look at the world with a totally different view. I've taken a lot of risks over the years. I'm going to continue taking risks. Sun Young used the word courage. That is extremely important, that we often have to step out. Look what Carlos has done today. He has decided to organize this conversation, and he didn't know if it would work. He has got other platforms to glean from and to learn from, but that takes a step of courage to say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to see if all these women are available and if others will sign up to listen in. Look at Roseanne with her conversation about the funds needed in Nairobi. I've spent time in Kenya. So if you make a commitment to something, as I have to my marriage, and as I, for 40 years, and as I have to the women's movement or to the human rights movement, because I actually prefer to think of it as that. It wakes me up every morning and it says, what can I do today? That was a little muddly. I'm hoping that did make some sense.
That was
Thank
great.
you so much, Jenni. Laura, do you want to add something to that?
Oh no, I just wanted to thank you so much for the inspiration and the answer.
Well, you're very, very welcome. If once you commit to something, just decide daily, I am committed to this. And it's amazing how much easier it gets. And it's amazing how many people you gather into your circle to commit with you. I had no idea when I came down to New Zealand. I had one dream. While I'm in New Zealand, how can I help the Maori women? And so I started telling people, that's this advocacy and being an activist is where I come from. How can I help? And it has created a circle of women around me, and we're launching our initiative on June the 1st. So, I mean, that's happened a lot faster than I thought it would. So it's a matter of collect the people who are like-minded and speak out, and you'll find yourself leading with them or for them or through them.
Again, thank you so much, Jenni, for your amazing, inspirational, and brilliant answer. I swear you're such inspirational. That's why I wanted you here so badly.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
And I'm not the only one who think you're inspirational. Tracy and Harriet asked how they can get in contact with you. They would like to, get in touch with you. So.
Well, Deirdre O'Donnell has already reached out and connected with me on LinkedIn, right, Deirdre? And I've pinged a quick message back, and we are now connected on LinkedIn. So that is certainly one way. But I am happy to give you my email if anybody would like to talk to me further. You can see my name in my box there. My email is so easy. It is jenni@prisk.com. I've got the easiest email in the world. I'm very, very lucky. So it's my first name, jenni@prisk.com. And if I can mentor you, if I can guide you, if I can help you, that's what I'm here to do. I'm very happy to do that. As I say, I'm connected around the globe now with women peacemakers who come to San Diego every year. Well, they will again when COVID settles down. We turned Voices of Women into a podcast. And I see with Philia, the conference that's coming up in the UK in October, they've got a podcast where they amplify the voices of women. And so I'm always looking for interviews for that because we can do them on Zoom nowadays. So jenni@prisk.com or on LinkedIn, I'd be happy to connect with you.
Thank you so much, Jenni, again, for your amazing answering, for you being here. Such an honor to have you here. Thank you so much. And Yoon unfortunately have to leave. So I want also to thank her for joining, for her amazing participation today. You're both, all the female leaders here are wonderful. You're admirable, and I respect you so much. Thank you so much for making this event real. Thank you. And the last one we have with her hand raised, it's Sudha Sirvastava. Sudha, you can turn your mic on.
Hi, Carlos. It's so lovely. I mean, thank you very much. And it's a really, really great pleasure to see really interesting faces. Jenni, I met many of you at YLYP series of NGO CSW, where we were trying to amplify our voices. And I think I really admire you, Jenni, for what you are doing, to be honest. And I have learned so much. And I see here Seema, Carlos, Ando, Saphira. Sorry, Seema, I'm not switching on my camera because I am with my 2-year-old. Sorry, I'm a young mother. So that's really interesting. And I mean, Jenni, I would like to say one thing. I don't have a question, but I have a comment that you decided a right path for yourself, but this is helping us now. Now it is for younger generation to make use of what you are doing. So this is really amazing. You are there, so it's such a wonderful thing. And Carlos, lovely to see that you have organized this event. I mean, when I saw this poster, I was so I felt so glad that I have to really sign up and listen to all of our I would like to say colleagues of YLYPs. So thank you, Carlos. And I have a wonderful tomorrow session. I would like to join as well as far as I can. Thank you, Jenni. Thank you, Saphira, Houry, Carlos, Seema, all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sudha. It's really wonderful to have you here. Sudha, Seema, Tando, and I are from the Young Leaders, Young Professionals program. So, it's really great. And as Jenni says, this is not easy. Like something like this is not easy at all. It takes a lot of courage. But here we are. We did it. This is a teamwork. This is not just thanks to Carlos. This is thanks to the amazing work from Generation Change International, who has helped me from the very beginning. So, and this is how we end. We end in a very, very nice way, talking about teamwork. So thank you so much, all of you who joined us today. Thank you for registering. Thank you for joining. Thank you to our amazing female leaders who were our guest speakers of today. I'm so happy and so proud of how this went. I'm really, really excited to see you all tomorrow, 10 a.m. New York time or Eastern time. You are going to hear from another group of amazing, wonderful, and inspiring female women from across the globe. You will have the chance to talk to Tando Hopa, who is an international model and actress. You will have the chance to talk to Advocate Tando Gumere, Seema Rajput from India, Professor Sarah Arnlinder from Israel, and U.S. Representative Atika Scott. So this is going to be, iconic youth leader Kekashan Basu will also be here tomorrow. So I hope you all join us for our second and last day of Women in Leadership Roles, a look into the present. I'm really, really happy and excited to see that all of you were as excited and inspired by what everything that has been done and said today. Thank you all so much again for joining, and I see you all tomorrow. Jenni, Saphira, big hug to you. Thank you so much for joining. All my admiration and respect to both of you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.